Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket or you're just happy to see me?
Hello, everyone. Welcome. We are back for the ones and twos for January, and I wanted to do kind of like a rebirth, renewal theme, essentially, of sorts, since basically it is the first month of the new year. And I'm going to thank Trey for this. He's the one that suggested Rocky and Rocky 2, which I didn't cross my mind because I was like racking my brain. So I'm like, trying to think of like ones and twos movies basically that ultimately at least reflected some type of rebirth or renewal. And I was like basically motherfucker, yeah. It's like the light bulb went off basically because there is a little bit of rebirth in a sense, because from where Rocky starts to where he ends up, all right, he basically is reborn. He's renewed of sorts. And so basically, for those who are just tuning in, if you have not seen the movie, we will be talking about spoilers as we go throughout, like basically throughout most of the movie, which will basically be touching on the very end of the film. So if you don't want to be spoiled, if you've not seen it, I recommend you maybe watching the movie and then catching the replay. But if you don't care, well, there you go. Yeah, I see your question. I'm wondering, where's my locker? I love that scene. Basically, yeah, yeah, you don't have a locker anymore. But so, and the reason why I'm not saying the only reason why Burgess Meredith got the role, but part of the reason why Burgess Meredith, I love him as Mickey. I fucking love Burgess Meredith as Mickey. Part of the reason why he got the role is because the other actors who were approached to play Mickey actually got offended. They were asked to read for the parts.
Well, there is one line in the movie.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not so much that they were offended by the line necessarily, but just I think the way the trivia read is like just in general, like how dare you ask me to read for this part sort of situation, like how like actually audition for this role sort of situation, where Burgess Meredith came in, read, and oh yeah, you work. Pretty much. And the way Carl Weathers got the part, I fucking love. And we'll talk about when we talk about Apollo Creed, because he came in to audition, all right? And there was a reason during the audition why Stallone immediately offered him the part of Apollo Creed. But before I say hello to the chat and bring up Rocky to show you stills essentially from the movie, because we can't play, even on mute, we can't play it because, well, fucking YouTube will hit us. Orange Chat, let everybody know where they can find you and all that fun stuff.
Well, you can find me on Mara's channel twice a month. I'm doing my best Mick impression.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can also find me on X at OrangeHat2185 or OrangeHat Revived. Tomorrow you can find me on X exclusively, where me and Mara are going to be discussing Alita Battle Angel, where we're not bound by the rules of YouTube. So yeah, fuck YouTube. Bing.
Yes.
But
and yeah.
Friday is Orange Hat Uncensored, where me, Janet, and Ruben are going to be on her channel and my channel mirroring streams. I finally fixed my issue, folks. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna be going over the blessed news of the month so far. Everybody loves it. But Sunday will be the recap, which will also be covering it with a different panel, as well as Hollywood news and such, as well as a discussion of the movie Dragonheart. And now thinking about it, Dragonheart could have also worked as a single. But also Tuesday will be my final theme stream for the month. I will be trying to think up of a stream. I don't want to do romance for February because it's just been done to death. So I'm going to try to come up with another theme other than romance theme. Tuesday, 1 p.m. will be Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which was my fourth pick for the top 4 movies of 2024. Deadpool Wolverine made number 5, so there's not 5 weeks in January, so sorry, folks. Didn't work. Or didn't make the cut. And believe me, I've gotten a lot of hate for that. But yeah, that's where you can find me. Plus Tuesday nights on the Barroom Podcast, or 8 p.m. now, new time, new year. So yeah, on Society Reviews channel, and that's another area where I get to be a little uncensored because I do kind of pull it back a little bit on my channel. I hold back because eventually I do want to get monetized. I said I would hold off for a year. I've held off for well more than a year when it comes to monetization, folks. But I'm seriously not in it for the money. I'm just in it for informing folks. But yeah, that's where you can find me. I'm still trying to get the 2,000 subs, so any help there, I'll do a giveaway on my channel. So yeah, I'll probably do some movie theater posters and, well, a good set of binoculars if you like that kind of stuff too. Just don't be looking in people's houses, freaks.
Yep. So I will go over like where you can find me, like, other than YouTube, you can find me on Kick and Twitch. Basically, I do my gaming streams there, and if I don't hear back from her tonight, I'm going to message my nerdy home again tomorrow because I figured there's a game that she's been playing with Disparu called Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, which sounds weird, but basically one person. Think of the explosive ordnance disposal units in the military, basically, the bomb squads, pretty much.
Yeah.
You have one looking at the bomb, basically, and relaying to the other person, what they're seeing on the bomb, basically, and the other person's helping them defuse it. Well, my nerdy home figured out that someone with basically, you need someone with a big brain to help the one with the small brain defuse the bomb, basically. Right, but she wants to be the one on the manual. So basically, it's going to be the opposite. If I can get her to message me back, and if she's available Friday, the big brain. Sorry, my nerdy home. I love you, Chica. But the big brain will be on the bomb, trying to relay to the small brain what's on it, and the small brain is trying to relay what she's seeing in the manual or on the PDF.
Okay, weren't you EOD?
No, thank God I was. Thank God I wasn't EOD. Because I'd be like, "Fuck it, let's cut the wire." Because I'd be too impatient waiting. It's got to be one of these wires. Sort of a situation.
You want to know who had the worst time, or who was the best EOD person in the world when it came to explosive ordnance disposal? His name was Timon.
I was thinking Batman in the Adam West Batman movie. Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Oh my God. Yeah, right. But yeah, Timon, he just knew where to let that warthog fly, man.
Yeah, there you go. But anyway, we are not talking Lion King. We are talking Rocky from 1976. And I will say hello to the chat.
Hello, chat.
As I said before, we will be touching on spoilers. We'll be talking about the characters and the overall plot to include essentially how the movie ends. So again, if you don't want to be spoiled, if you have not seen it, recommend you checking out the replay after you've seen the film. So this is a film that I do recommend people watch. Gravy D, no worries. You said you're very tired. You'll catch the replay. No worries. Trey, you ready for the discussion? Forgot how visceral the first Rocky is. Yeah, well, especially the last fight, basically. And incidentally, part of the trivia I read for the last fight is Sylvester Stallone and Carl Weathers did actually suffer a couple injuries apiece. But they were the opposite of what their characters suffered, basically. So Stallone suffered from bruised ribs, and Carl Weathers suffered from an injured nose, which was the opposite of what their characters suffered, because Rocky suffered from a broken nose, essentially, and then Apollo Creed suffered from bruised ribs on his one side.
Not just a broken nose, but also a pretty much destroyed eye.
I'm saying just of those injuries, basically, it's kind of the opposites of what their characters suffered.
Yeah. I got you.
Jaluk, lurking, watching on the big screen. No worries, Jaluk. Tara Crystal, hello. Oh yeah, let me know, chat. Let me know, chat, if you want me to put a super chat goal, because I wanted to try it. There's a rogue cosplay I wanted to get, and if I do a super chat goal on the stream, not a huge goal, basically, but a little bit, just to test it. Let me know. You all be willing to, I guess, partake in it. I've seen people do that and just assume people are going to send super chats, but I don't want to assume that of my chats.
Yeah.
But Sammy Bear King, hello, good to see you. Yeah, you don't have a locker anymore, Orange Chats. Yeah, it's Dipper's locker now. So Mickey said so.
Goddamn Dipper.
Yeah. Crank 1 and 2. Those are interesting fucking movies. I will say that.
Isn't that the one with Jason Statham having to keep his heart rate up?
Yeah, he has to keep his heart rate up. So basically, like, like he'll like either take like battery cables like to his like basically nipples or something like that, just like shock him, juice him, or like one of them, I think it was the second one, something like that, or he like basically like fucks his girlfriend on this like racetrack or something like that in front of like all these people watching because he needed to get his heart rate up.
Oh my!
So when I say they are interesting movies, I'm not kidding.
Oh my god! That
was the first. I knew it was one of them. Because that scene just stands out to me. So I'm like, holy shit.
I mean, Jason Statham. I mean, he got it on with Saffron Burrows in Bank Job. So I'm not going to give that man any guff. That dude managed to hit Burrows. So yeah. For those of you who don't know, Saffron Burrows was the semi-British chick from Deep Blue Sea. So, yeah.
So I respond to my mom. But yeah. Who the hell hasn't seen Rocky Automatic Deportation? Yeah. A Gigawatt. Citizen Ronin, hello. You never know, Gigawatt. Yeah, Dragonheart is a good movie. Still makes me cry at the end. Even though it's like it's one hand where I'm just like, yes, the fucker gets it. Like, you know which one I'm talking about if you've seen the movie. How he gets it, I'm like, damn it.
Right.
So.
Plus
no Ramblings in February. So no When Harry Met Sally. That would be interesting to talk about the infamous diner scene, but no. So.
Oh wait, yeah, that's what's her name doing the big O moment. Yeah.
Yeah, the big O moment in When Harry Met Sally. Yeah, it'd literally be Pinky in the brain with my nerdy home and myself trying to play this game. If she would ever respond to me. Mr. Benton, hello.
What are we going to do tonight? Yeah, I can do that voice too, folks. I'm a man of 100 voices.
Well, I mean, I don't know, but now, like I said, don't, tell people do not get your history from Hollywood. But if I remember a little bit of boxing history, that the footwork that not when I say the footwork, I mean like the more of a dance type of style we currently see in boxing goes back to a boxer who went by the name of Gentleman Jim. Because up until that Gentleman Jim's time, it very much was a brawl, like big bruisers, like going at punching each other, basically like really no finesse. Until I can't remember the character. I can't remember the man's actual name. I just remember Gentleman Jim. That's what he went by. That he's the one who like incorporated the fancy footwork, so to speak. So basically, like when you talk about boxers nowadays, you'd be hard pressed to find one who hadn't at least taken some type of dance class as well to maintain their footwork as a result of the pugilistic style that Gentleman Jim offered.
Yeah, I'm more like a person that will just stand in a ring, let you beat on me. Kind of like Homer Simpson from The Simpsons, where once you start to get tired, that's when except for my difference between me and Homer, I'll actually hit you back after you freaking hit me a million times. It's like, okay, time to go to work.
Yeah. Well, we're talking, as far as pugilism, Rocky. Now, according to some of the trivia I have read, basically, Stallone at this point was when I say struggling actor, I mean struggling actor.
I do believe he was.
I'd say Drago would be, I mean, like, what's not to love about that Rocky villain?
A lot of people say Drago. Me, I say a villain who was actually a villain. Clubber Lang.
Yeah.
Because that dude had sheer malice. Where for Drago, at the time, he didn't want to kill anybody. He just wanted to beat the best.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, they pumped his ass full of steroids to do it.
Well,
but definitely, Clubber Lang, he was just all malice.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
unfortunately, I tried to get the title like in the, like one shot on like the stream, but the way the title rolls across the stream, you can't get it all in one go, basically. Yeah. But basically, like when I say Stallone was in dire straits, I mean Stallone had basically $106 to his name when he was approached about the script he had written for Rocky, at least the initial script he'd written for Rocky, and offered $350,000 for that script. But basically, Stallone agreed to do it under the pretense, basically under the conditions, I should say, not pretense, but the conditions that Stallone continued to work but he would be the star, basically. That was a condition. So I will sell you the rights to my script, but I'm going to be the star in the movie. So they agreed to it under their own stipulations that Stallone would continue to work as a writer because it was his great baby, essentially, but without a fee, without a writer's fee, because he's going to be starring in the movie. As well as because he wasn't an established name, he would have to work for scale, basically. So he couldn't say I'm going to be working for this amount of money. No, basically they have pay scales for actors. So he had to work for scale. He didn't sell his dog necessarily. He was about to sell his dog.
He was about
to sell his dog because he couldn't afford to keep him when he was fortuitously approached by these two gentlemen. The gentlemen's names were Irwin Winkler and Robert Chardoff. They were two producers who approached Stallone about the script just when Stallone was about to sell his dog because he couldn't afford to keep him. Incidentally, the dog in the movie, Butkus, is Stallone's real-life dog.
Beautiful.
I think that was the thoughts that but I think he was so close to selling his dog that the thought was that he actually did. But what I'm reading is that he hadn't done it yet. He was close. He was this close. It's saying that dog is in the movie. So somewhere along the line, something got mixed up with what happened, because I also heard that he bought it back after the movie, and I'm reading that no, the dog in the movie was his actual dog, and he was this close to selling it maybe to a friend, because he only had $106 to his name at that point in his life. He was literally making $35 a week as an usher, so he wasn't making a lot of money. And
Did
so
he have a brief stint in Smut to make money?
What?
Didn't he have a brief stint in Smut?
I haven't read that. Wouldn't actually not be surprised given it would not be surprised, but at the same time, we're not talking about his Smut career if he had it. We're talking about Rocky, basically. So
dear God.
But from I read, the dog in the movie Butkus is Stallone's real life dog. And the turtles, hello Steve, and everyone, hello. The turtles in the movie, as of 2020, were still alive. And the reason why Stallone called himself the Italian Stallion is because in Italian, that's what Stallone means. It means stallion. So that's where he got the Italian Stallion name. I don't think we would have gotten Rambo if Rocky hadn't done so well. But let's talk Rocky. So basically, Rocky is his character's name, per the scripts, basically was actually Robert Balboa, basically. But he took the nickname Rocky after, the boxer Rocky Marciano.
Yeah.
So we know him as Rocky Balboa, essentially. So let's talk Rocky, right? He is literally for peanuts. He is boxing for literal peanuts, essentially. So basically, when this fight ends, he makes a whopping $40.55 to his name after all these fees and whatever are taken out. So what do you think? So basically, the character, from what I read, the character of Rocky was, obviously Stallone is writing it, so like Stallone is using his own life as inspiration, and it reflects his struggle as an actor. But he chose to make the character a boxer because who's going to relate to a struggling actor or writer? Despite, no one's really going to exactly relate to that, but someone like, a boxer, underdog boxer, people like, would root for. So what do you think of the character Rocky Balboa?
Well, everybody loves a good underdog story. Honestly, and that is true, everybody does love a good underdog story. And Rocky Balboa is essentially, now somebody said this a while back, and I had to stew on it for a little bit. You know Dragon Ball Z, right? Or Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z in them.
Well, like I never really got into it, but I do know it. So.
Yeah, he's essentially Goku.
Mm-hmm.
He's always striving to better himself and whatnot, and he loves to fight. That is Rocky. He loves to fight, but he also wants to know if he can go the distance. And that's the wonderful thing about his character. He has, or yes, he's a leg breaker. He's a thug in this movie until he's no longer a thug, until he gets his big break. But he also is somebody who doesn't really want to do what he does because, as he says to Mick later on, it's a living. But he's also keeping Paulie off of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because Paulie's
like,
want to meet with Gus. I want to meet with Gus. No, man.
Like, no, you don't. You don't want it. Like, because
you don't want into that life.
No.
Yeah.
That's like, he's making only like $40.55 at least in this fight, but not like not quite $41. So he takes the gig on the side of working for this loan shark, who's basically he's basically the one that goes out and breaks someone's legs if he or she does not pay.
He's an enforcer.
Or gets the money. Yeah. So it's interesting that you say this because Chuck Wepner was actually an inspiration, especially for the end fight where Rocky goes the distance because of I believe Wepner's bout with Muhammad Ali. Because Wepner was thought to that he would go down in the third or fourth round or something like that. That's what people expected of him. But he actually lasted until the last several seconds or so of the 15th round, the final round, until Ali got a TKO or a technical knockout on Wepner. Yeah. So this whole go the distance thing, Wepner was an inspiration. So but as for Rocky, he has incredible endurance. Mm-hmm. I mean, this dude will take the beating because he wants to go, or he wants to know how far he can go. Mm-hmm. And that's the crazy thing about him, because it's like, dude, how do you not have brain damage after the first movie alone? Because the amount of punishment he takes, especially even in this fight with Rico, which God bless seeing him in Rocky Balboa. But this dude just straight up headbutts him in the fucking ring. And I'm like, oh, damn, dude. But that's the thing about Rocky. It's like he thinks, some people have actually thought he may be autistic. And I'm like, I don't think he's autistic. He's just not knowledgeable. He's sort of dopey in a way. Well, I like it's kind of we'll talk about Adrian, but it's like the conversation he has with her, where basically he's told by his dad, where it's like, you don't have a brain, so you might as well basically use your body to your advantage, basically, and what he does as a fighter, as a boxer, basically, you use what you have, basically. So in this case, Rocky's body as a fighter, as a boxer. And Adrian's like, well, I was the opposite with my mom. It's like, you don't have much in the way of a body, so you might as well learn to develop your brain.
Wow. So. Yeah. I mean, Talia Shire was also great in this movie too. But yeah, Stallone, he is, or a lot of people say this because it's actually true. He is genuinely a nice guy. He is essentially a living embodiment of Rocky off screen as well as on screen. Because I mean, he wrote it about, or he essentially did write himself into this story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so true on so many levels. And that's what I love about it. And his character.
Yeah. Like the point where he actually, when he sees the younger sister of someone he knows hanging out with a bunch of hoodlums, he's giving her a speech as he's walking her back to her house, and he's telling her it doesn't matter if the reputation is true. That's how people are going to remember you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he
He's
drops
like,
the
you're
word
gonna make me
whore.
say a bad word.
Yeah, maybe
He's like,
say
you're
a
gonna
bad
make
word.
me
Drop
say a
the
bad
word
word.
whore. But like but he's right. It doesn't matter if the reputation is true or not. He's like, like, oh, like you like, did you hear about so and so? Like who? Like, oh yeah, used to hang out like back, in this place. Or I can't remember the exact dialogue, but he's like going over, like when he's talking to this little girl, and he's like, oh yeah, the little the whore, like
Little Marie.
Yeah, little Marie. And it's like, I'm like, well, he's right. And when she says, when she says screw you, creepo, it actually originally was supposed to be fuck you, creepo. They toned it down a little bit because she's 12, so it's like,
And the funny thing is, I love how years later it comes back into it, because I believe it was 2006 that he did Rocky Balboa.
Mm-hmm.
And that was literally like 40 years later. And I'm thinking to myself,
well, 2006 would be 30 years later because it was 1976.
Or yeah, 36. Yeah. Sorry, 36 years or 30 years later. And it's like he brings her back, or the character back, and it's like, yeah, good insults are hard to come by, And she's, oh my god, it was just so great. Screw you, creepo.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
Albert, thank you for the $5 super chat. Canadian boxer George Chuvello went the full distance with Ali bell to bell. They went out dancing with his wife while Ali went to the hospital.
Oh shit. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Didn't know that. Good to know. Holy wow.
Like I said, basically the entire movie we're following it essentially from Rocky's perspective. So Rocky has a friend, Paulie, played by Burt Young, and Paulie has a sister named Adrian, played by Talia Shire, whom Rocky has a crush on.
Mm-hmm. And
she's not unattractive, but she's dowdy. And the reason why the reason why she played the character as reserved and quiet as she did in the movie, at least initially, is because she was suffering from the flu at the time. So when she's not saying any lines, she's actually sick. So they play it off that she's just really shy, and I think it works for the movie.
Especially since Rocky gets like a cold and sniffles. I mean, it makes sense now. Holy shit.
So, and Burt Young actually was, when he was younger, a boxer, and actually gave Stallone tips for the final fight, because Stallone approached him because they had to Stallone had to hash out the final boxing match at the end of the movie, so it did not look too choreographed. And Burt Young gave him some pointers, basically, and Stallone incorporated them in, and thus we have the final bouts. Also, the scene where Paulie is returning home drunk around Christmas.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
An actual drunk actually wandered onto the set and chastised Burt Young for not looking drunk enough. So Young asked the guy for some tips.
Oh my god, that sounds like him. God rest that man. But was it last year that Burt passed, or a couple years ago? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he passed 23 or 22.
All right, we got any pointers basically? So
But speaking of him as an actual boxer,
Chuvala did it first. Thank you, Albert. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. But speaking of Burt Young, back in the day, was a real boxer. When Rocky 3, when he actually goes after Stallone in the parking lot, as well as the cup or the one shot that he does on the meat in the freezer in this one. It's like there's skill behind that punch.
Mhm.
I noticed it's like, there is actually some skill behind. I wonder if this dude knew how to fight, because when he was going after Rocky in the third one, it's like,
Mhm.
I think this dude actually does know how to fight. I never knew that he was actually a real boxer until now, though. But it's like there is skill behind that,
Mhm.
And I always wondered.
Ooh,
And thanks for
hog.
having it confirmed. Yeah.
Mhm. Yes. So basically, yeah. So it's like, how do you play a more believable drunk, nearby drunk? Yeah, I'll teach you. So yeah. So basically, this drunk chastised Burt Young for not looking drunk enough. In that scene when Paulie's returning home around Christmas. I don't know if it's on Christmas or around Christmas, but it's Christmas time basically.
Yeah.
So
before we talk about realize this movie goes months past in this movie.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year, or up to New Year's when the fight takes place.
We'll work back to talking about like the supporting characters, like Paulie and Adrian and so forth. But I think like the three main ones essentially are Rocky, Apollo Creed, and I would include Mickey in that as well.
Yep. Of course you're gonna include Mick.
Yeah, so basically those are basically the main three. So we're going to talk about those. So Carl Weathers. All right. Here's a little bit of trivia that I read. Okay. Carl Weathers, came into audition for the role of Apollo Creed, and as part of the audition, sparred with Stallone. Basically, sparred with Stallone. And Weathers made the comment that he felt that he would do better if he were actually sparring against like the actual actor. He'd be opposites basically, because he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
He thought Stallone was the stand-in. Basically, what studios will sometimes do, basically, is have a stand-in before they actually encounter the real actor. And when it was pointed out to Weathers that Stallone was the real actor, that he'd be starring opposite from, Weathers looked at Stallone and kind of half cocky, and just it's like, well, maybe he'll get better. So basically,
oof.
Yeah, but that statement right there, Stallone was like, "You're hired," because that is Apollo Creed. That is Apollo Creed. Apollo Creed continuously underestimates Rocky from the start, because the only reason Apollo Creed fights Rocky is one, because the original opponent had an injury to his metacarpal bone, third metacarpal bone,
broke his hand.
Could not fight. Yeah, so basically could not fight. He's an injury that could not be overlooked. So he's out, and Creed needed an opponent for this, and so all the more well-known boxers were, basically were essentially out of commission for one reason or another. Basically, they couldn't do it. So let's bring in an underdog, essentially, a local boy. All right, and so because basically, what's more American in the land of opportunity than giving a local boy an opportunity for the big leagues?
And they had the best line in this movie that's relevant today.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what's your opinion on a black man fighting a white man? And it's like, well, how do you feel about a white or a black or black?
Well, basically, it was like how does he put it?
It's like, what does it matter?
Basically, the gist of it is, what does it matter? Because he's fighting it, and it's he's fighting a white man on this particular date sort of situation, because he's like, it's like, what does it matter? He's fighting me. I'm a black man. So what does it fucking matter?
Yeah, basically, we're Americans, so what does it matter? Yeah. We're both Americans here, but I also love the
Star Wars fan
thing. Yeah, good to see you, man. And
$5 super chat again. So highly recommend the documentary The Last Round about the Tuvalu will all you fight. George make a funny and honest point about what being a champ would mean. So yeah, I'll check it out. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I also love. He's like, "You're Italian, aren't you, Ro?" "Yeah, I'm Italian." "Well, what's that mean?" "If you can't fight, sure you can cook."
Yeah. So, I mean,
That
I
was
love
such
that
a
line.
great line.
Yeah. So, but basically, again, it's like I'm not saying Carl Weathers necessarily embodied Apollo Creed in the audition, but the attitude he had, like even jokingly, the attitude he had, Stallone was like, it's like that is Apollo Creed, because Apollo Creed, the whole reason Apollo Creed picks Rocky Balboa is because Rocky Balboa was going by the moniker the Italian Stallion, and Creed's like, that's what I want. The Italian Stallion, Apollo Creed versus the Italian Stallion. And he sees it's like, he's gonna be knocked out in the third round. It's not gonna be much of a fight, basically. So it's very American. No, it's very smart. Yes, it's both, basically. But yeah, I like that line where it's because he's going through what's more land of opportunity, basically, than giving a local boy, an underdog, a chance at the big time. It's very American. No, it's very smart, and it's true. Because everyone loves an underdog. You pit that as the biggest boxing match of the year. And I think Rocky was set to make $150,000 regardless. And that's a nice chunk of change. So basically, and I was telling Orange Chat before the stream started that whenever we talk about a movie, especially an older movie, I always loved looking at the inflation calculators, basically. I always love looking at the inflation calculator to see what that year's money would mean today, basically. All right, would mean today. So let's say, basically, because I just threw that number out, $150,000 Rocky would have made regardless would have been $826,948.15 today. So about $830,000. Roughly. Just regardless. He was going to walk away with that money. So he would have made nearly $830,000 in today's money. All right. Stallone was approached with the offer to buy the script for $350,000. Right, which Stallone accepted under the condition that he star in the film. That $350,000 in 1976 would be $1,929,545.69.
Almost $2 million.
To nearly $2 million equivalent Stallone was offered for his script. All right, the producers took the script to United Artists, right? Who basically first the United Artists wanted a budget of $2 million, but they envisioned an actual star in the role. And according to the trivia, the stars they were thinking about would have been Robert Redford, Ryan O'Neal, Burt Reynolds, Nick Nolte, or James Caan. Of those, I could picture James Caan. But they were picturing more established actors in the role for $2 million budgets. And the producer said, well, no, when we purchased this, it was under the stipulation that Stallone would be the star. So United Artists cut the budget in half. So instead of $2 million, he said, your budget is $1 million. Basically, $1 million. And they would be personally liable if the budget went over. All right, the film went over budget during production, which it did by $100,000. So the final budget was about $1,100,000, which the producers, Winkler and Chartoff, mortgaged their houses to cover. $900,000. So basically, they at least believed in the movie enough that they were willing to mortgage their houses to make sure that the film got released, produced and released. All right, so $1 million. So $1 million in 1976 money, okay, is a little over $5.5 million. So basically, this movie was produced for
Modest
$5,500,000, basically a modest budget. Okay.
Yep.
I was giving that perspective. It was produced for a little over $5.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, I have to go back and get the exact figure that it grossed worldwide, because it did a hefty sum worldwide. Okay. Estimated the gross worldwide was $117,253,184. That, my dear ladies and gentlemen, I have to go copy it again because it did not allow me to copy. Okay, that, dear ladies and gentlemen, that gross.
Extremely profitable.
Yes, is the equivalent. Okay, it was extremely profitable. Made almost $118 million worldwide.
Yeah.
That in today's dollars, ladies and gentlemen, would be $646,415,360.91. So well over $500 million. Almost like $750 million. And this is basically on a budget in today's money of a little over $5,500,000. It made well over $500 million.
Yeah.
I'd say that cemented Stallone as a rising star.
Oh, it definitely did. I mean, a lot of people, Jaws, we already discussed, but to give you guys an idea, Jaws in '75 was the first blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
Stallone's Rocky, I believe, may have been the second or third to break 100 mil. And then Star Wars later on. But yeah, that's the thing. Or that was the mid to late 70s was the rise of blockbusters at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder why we got sequels. Yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah.
So to say it was profitable is an understatement. It was extremely profitable. And this is from United Artists having the budgets because they couldn't get a big name star because of the agreement.
And you want to know something even funnier, folks? You know that song, Take You Back?
Mm-hmm.
Do, 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 do. That's his brother who sings it. I mean, I watch these movies with the audio commentary, and it's lovely. Or you learn. A lot of people don't realize this, but audio commentaries are actually quite informative. And if you're gonna if you have the ability to watch a movie with audio commentary, give it a watch with the audio commentary, because I guarantee you will learn shit that most people will never find out unless they have to do like a deep dive into the story or into the movie. But Carl Weathers as Apollo Creed, to give my thoughts on this, I love his character. Yeah, I love his character. His character is essentially the embodiment of the American dream. But I also love what he says while he's doing these commercials and whatnot. He's like, don't, or be a doctor, be a lawyer, or make something of yourself. Don't worry about sports, you know? And I'm like, this dude is literally an athlete.
I know.
He's telling people, don't care about sports. It's like, wow, man. Because it's also good advice, though, because the sport he plays in happens to be dangerous.
Yes. He's comedic in in his delivery, basically, when he's giving that little stay in school type of speech, when he's when he's basically be a thinker, not a stinker, basically. So it's like
be a thinker, not a stinker.
Yeah.
God bless Carl Weathers, man.
He has a cockiness to him But at the same time, he's not egotistical. He's not, like I say, overtly egotistical. But there's a cockiness to him. And I think he's, in a way, his character has earned the right to be that little overly confident because of how many bouts he's won. His name recognition is over. He is champion. So I think he's earned that little bit of narcissism behind it, behind his character. And to his character's credit, he develops respect for Rocky. Like, you don't really see it at the end of this movie, but you see it in Rocky 2, basically, because he wanted a rematch. Because he didn't think he actually beat Rocky. Well, he actually did not, because it was this close and had to be judges saying he beat him by a technicality, essentially, so vote.
Yep. And I love what they say at the end of this one, literally in the last minute of the movie. Ain't no gonna be ain't gonna be one rematch. Gonna be no rematch. He's like, don't want one.
Don't want one.
Because we'll discuss it in the second one. I mean, I really want to discuss it now, but we'll discuss it in the second one because it's in the second movie. Why Duke, which is Apollo's coach and his quote unquote father, essentially. It's like, I don't want you to fight this man again.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You do see a little bit this respect starting because Rocky won't stay down. Because Apollo's coming into this match thinking that he's going Rocky's going to go down, not take a dive, but going to go down third or fourth round.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that it's like, oh, I'm not going to have that much effort we need to put into this.
Yep.
As I'm saying, that's why I'm saying this is an underdog story, a yes and no underdog story, where it's he does not beat Apollo. But he goes the distance, which is someone no one has ever done with Apollo. That's the whole thing he wanted to prove, is that he could go the distance. And by distance,
and there's
meaning all 15 rounds.
And there's something to say about that because it's something that happens in almost every Rocky movie.
Mm-hmm.
They go as far as they can go.
Mm-hmm.
And
that shocked Apollo.
Yeah.
When Rocky got that hit on him.
Yep.
Shocked Apollo because even one of Apollo's men, his ringside
his coach Duke.
Well, I'm saying it's one of them actually. I want to point this out really fast. Apollo's bodyguard, that's Michael Dorn.
Yeah. No shit.
That's Michael Dorn in his first role.
Wow.
So you see, oh my god, I'm blanking on the character's name.
Which one? His corner man, Duke?
Worf. Thank you, Worf. You see Worf before Worf. He became a Klingon, basically. So that's Michael Dorn. Yeah, that's Worf. He plays a bodyguard. It's an uncredited role, but it's his first role in this movie. But it's Apollo's coach. Is he's witnessing this. It's he's actually treating this like a damn fight, not a damn show. Because they're thinking he understood that
he doesn't know this is a show.
You're fighting a champion. You're not exactly expected to win. Nope.
Yeah, and I love what he tells him. He's like, "Look, drop this bum and let's go home."
Yeah.
And he finds out I can't drop him. Fuck.
No, can't drop him. Yeah, hey, north. Yeah. I can't drop him.
Yeah.
No matter what, Rocky will not stay down.
Yeah.
The point of Rocky has his nose broken. He needs a cut man for his eye.
Yep.
He will not stay down because he's even talking with Adrian. We'll talk about Adrian in a little bit. He's talking with Adrian and he's like, I know I can't beat him. I can't beat him. I am literally I'm literally the underdog going against the champion. Mm-hmm. I am basically the no name going against the champion. I know I can't beat him. I'm I'm the local boy boxer.
Yep.
But I will go the distance with him because no one has.
Yep. It's I want to know how far I can go. I want to see if I can go the distance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the wonderful thing about the dynamic with Adrian in this movie. I mean, we'll talk about it when we get to her.
Mm-hmm. But
with the fight with Rocky and Apollo, I mean, Duke tells him, he's like, just drop this bone, let's go home. And he's trying and trying and trying. That's the thing about Rocky. He won't go down. He refuses to give up.
Mm-hmm.
that's the wonderful thing about Rocky. He thinks giving up is for losers. And so he won't give up. He will, even if it costs him his life. I mean, he even said that in the 4th movie. To beat me, he's going to have to kill me.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's when they say in Rocky Balboa, skill versus will. And I'm like, that's the thing about Rocky Balboa. He is the living embodiment of willpower.
Yeah.
He just doesn't quit.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know how to quit, like Soul Assassin said.
So let me see if I can. So.
Dip as a contender.
Mickey. Mickey. Burgess Meredith. Now, the first thing I had ever seen Burgess Meredith in was the Twilight Zone episode, Time Enough at Last. But this man had actually had a good Hollywood career dating back to, like, I think the 1940s, roughly.
Oh, yeah.
So he had a long Hollywood career.
Penguin.
People probably know him better in terms of, like, around this time as the Penguin in the Adam West Batman series. But he is, like I said, he has played multiple roles going back to the 1940s and up until, like, he passed away. But I first saw him in The Twilight Zone, Time Enough at Last. He was also in The Obsolete Man. I think he was in one more, but those are the two I remember him from. And
I also remember him from Grumpy and Grumpier Old Men.
I'd have to go back and rewatch those movies because I remember the first one. I don't remember the second one. And he played
Jack
the
Lemon's
father of he played
Jack Lemmon.
So like I said, I saw those movies like years ago, so I'd have to like really rewatch them. But
Burgess Meredith.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He tells the best damn story about Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Yep. Seriously, Mara, when you watch that or when you watch Grumpier Old Men, you will laugh your ass off at that story.
I like Burgess Meredith. And like I said, like, not the only reason, but one of the primary reasons he got the role as Mickey is because he actually read for the part. Like, he didn't get offended or anything. Like, when he actually auditioned for the role.
Yeah.
All right. And I think it works because everyone else was offended. Like, how dare you ask me to read for the part?
What the hell are people offended for? This is a great role. It's perfect for Mick. Perfect for Burgess.
And like I say, like, Mickey is no nonsense. I love this. Mickey is no nonsense, but deep down he does care about Rocky. Because Rocky's wanting to know, why the hell do you keep riding me? Why the hell did you keep treating me this way? And like, Ricky's like, you really want to know? And like, Rocky's like, yeah, I want to know. Like, because like you were a good fighter. You were a good fighter.
You became a no good leg breaker.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, he does. I love it. Because he does care for him.
Mm-hmm.
And Rocky throws it back in his face, which I like how Mickey takes it, because Mickey walks out because Rocky tells him essentially get out, but I like how he tries to stay there a bit to try to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like there's just no explaining it to Rocky in this condition, Yeah. And that's why I like what happens later when he finally does. But yeah, relationship. Sorry, lost the word for a second there. Between these two goes, I mean, it's almost like father and son. It pretty much is father and son. It is just so well done because Burgess Meredith, he loves Rocky. He loves the kid. And he wants to see him be the best he can. He's just got to make sure that he gets away from what is dragging him down.
Yeah. To the point of even telling Rocky no funny business with Adrian, basically. I think at that point, Rocky is dating Adrian. And to the point where it's like, no funny business. No. Makes your legs weak. No.
Yeah. It makes your legs weak. No funny business.
Yeah. You're going to eat lightning and you're going to crap thunder.
Yeah. You're gonna eat lightning, and you're gonna
In the
crack
scene that you
thunder.
bring up, which is like happens later on, is when Mickey's like like offering to train Rocky because
Yeah.
Rocky needs a manager. Rocky is like he only has so many weeks to train for this bout, which is
Yeah.
one of the reasons why other contenders bowed out because they said that 5 weeks is not enough to train. But Rocky's going to do
Yeah.
it. He's going to take that 5 weeks to train, and he kind of throws it back in Mickey's face because this is 10 years now. You're finally coming to my apartment. Now you're finally doing this. Now you're now you're offering this after 10 years,
Yeah.
and so it's like you see that dynamic between the two.
There's resentment there.
The movie.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of resentment there, but at the same time, it's like again with Mickey, there's a resentment there because he resents what Rocky has become, like that basically the enforcer, like basically no good bum breaking people's legs for a 2-bit loan shark. So and Rocky has a little bit of resentment to Mickey because where was Mickey during these 10 years?
Yep.
Essentially.
And
So
I like what happens because he leaves.
Yeah.
And then that's when he starts beating on his door and stuff and yelling out after Mick. But then he goes right outside and he runs after Mick. And basically, you don't hear what he says, but he's like, I'm sorry, Mick. It's essentially, I'm sorry. Will you train me?
Yeah.
I'm
I
sorry.
mean, we don't need
to.
We don't need to hear it. We see them shaking hands. Basically, we can gauge from their body language that they're basically they needed that. They needed that between them. They needed all out to air that all out. And it's like once that steam was let out, and Rocky was like,
it was
it comes realizes okay, now that's out. Right. Now that I've got that out, basically, will you train me?
And that's the wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Mickey's training, and this is something that also fits to the whole Goku Rocky connection. 5 weeks, as you said, nobody would do it in 5 weeks because nobody could train for 5 weeks to go up against a champion of the world.
Yeah.
Rocky trains for 5 weeks is a no what do they call it? Unranked contender.
Yeah.
And goes up against champion of the world, goes all 15 rounds with him.
Yeah.
And takes the beating of his life, but also gives the beating of his life.
Yeah.
Or gives the beating of Apollo's life. And it's like, son of a bitch, ain't gonna be no rematch.
Yeah.
Don't want one.
I don't want one. Yeah, they're talking to each other and you're hearing ain't gonna be no rematch. They're out of breath. They're straining to say talk to each other and they're like, I don't want one.
And then but going back to Mick's training, it's like he is putting Rocky through some of the most brutal training a person can do. One-handed push-ups.
Yeah.
Clap
also the most creative by tying the string around his leg, saying you have no balance.
Oh, yeah.
If you can move your legs without breaking the string, now you have balance, basically.
Yeah. And that's the wonderful thing about Rocky. He trains in different ways in each movie because he realizes, okay, I now know what you're going to do. I now know what you're made of. I now know what you're capable of. Fuck all that. We're going to make you capable of much more.
Yeah.
And that's the wonderful thing about Mickey, because he wants to push Rocky because he knows Rocky can take it.
Stallone, I think, actually did give up smoking. Not just his character, but actually did give up smoking because he was, especially for the running scenes, he was getting so out of breath that he gave up smoking during the filming. Yes,
the chicken is in Rocky 2. Trey.
Yeah, because I was I rewatched this movie and there's no chicken. So I was like, there's no chicken.
Everybody's like, wait, where's the chicken? Rocky 2, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to a friend and he's like, wait, wasn't there a chicken in this movie? I'm like, no, Rocky 2.
Yeah.
He's
like,
oh, right. Fuck. And then they ate that chicken.
A little bit of phrasing there, Trey. But yeah, I get where you're coming from.
I will. If only Stieg was still here and not watching Nosferatu. Stieg would have tipped his hat to you, Trey, with that one. I love all the Rocky movies.
For the most part. Even the ones that are weaker, I think there's things I do enjoy. But for the most part, yeah. Actually, like the Rocky IPs, actually, I prefer over the Rambo one. I like the Rambo character. I like the movies, but I actually prefer the character of Rocky.
You're fired.
Anyway.
I edge a little bit more to Rambo
Mhm.
than to no wait. Now fuck, god damn it, Mario, you're making me reevaluate my life here. You know what? Fuck yeah. I like more of the Rocky movies than I do more of the Rambo. Son of a bitch.
Mhm.
Rocky Rambo, Rocky Rambo,
Yeah.
Rocky Rambo. Rocky, god damn it.
There you go. All right. So before we talk about basically the final bouts, lastly, like basically the support, I'm gonna see if I can get a shot of them together so we can talk about these two characters without.
Oh, there you go. Oh my god, Burt Young Polly and Adrian, yeah. Only a pig would say that.
Well, man, I'll skip forward a little bit basically, but Burt Young as Polly, Rocky's friend, works in this what do you call it, like a meat factory or something like that? It's like meat factory. Yeah, meat factory. Which he gets Rocky to put on the back of his robe. Basically, it's like what do you get out of this? Paulie gets $3,000. I get to keep the robe. So it's like a good deal.
Yeah, it's like, oh shit.
But Paulie's one of those characters where he's like, yeah, he's an asshole, but you still love him.
Yeah. Very much. And that's that is something that I really do like about his character. Because as vile as he is in this movie, it's like, damn, dude. I mean, you see the lowest point of Paulie. And that's the wonderful thing about Rocky. He lifts people up.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes Paulie 3 or 4 movies, but he lifts people up, and that is one of the wonderful things about him. But in this movie, Paulie he's a drunk, he's abusive, he wants to get out of the meat hauling job because it's fucking cold all the time, and it's like, it stinks, you stink. And that's when I first saw him hit the meat, when he brings up his fist, and it's like, skill behind that one. Even with the small little outburst right there, that's still a little bit of skill behind that. And then he's like, you're busting the ribs.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, holy shit, man.
Yeah, he was actually a boxer. So he actually gave Stallone some pointers, especially for the final fight.
Knowing that now, I cannot look at him the same way anymore. I look at him with a whole new respect.
Yeah. And in a weird way, he was, in his mind, he was protecting his sister. He was an asshole about it, but that's the big brother protecting his younger sister, essentially. It's like they're gonna.
Yeah.
So.
And I love this. He wants his sister to go out and get a life. Then she goes out and gets a life, and he's bitching at her for it. It's like, oh my god, it's like, I wanted you to go out and get a life, but I didn't want you to get that much of a life. God damn.
Yeah, no. Then you propose chat again. Apollo Creed versus the Italian Stallion. Sounds like a damn monster movie. Yes, I love that.
Yep.
And Paulie's like, he wants to get out. He wants to get out of the job he's doing. He keeps after Rocky because he's wanting to basically be an enforcer for Gazzo.
Yeah, I could beat people up.
Yeah,
it's like,
which
you don't want that life.
Knowing that Burt Young was the boxer, like, yeah, I can believe it. Yeah, you can beat people up.
Yeah, sure.
It's kind of like James.
He will break thumbs.
Yeah, James Cagney wanted to be a boxer. Yeah. That was his, at least his initial dream in life, before his mother put on a pair of boxing gloves and told him that his first match would be against her.
Oh shit!
So, and because, well, he's a good Irish son and does not want to beat up his mother.
No.
He gave up boxing.
From an Irishman here.
Nope.
You touch your ma.
Yeah.
Your entire family will kill you.
Yeah. So that dream was given up right away, and he turned to acting.
Yeah.
But you can see it. You can see it because he can throw a punch. You've watched James Cagney's movies. He knows how to throw a punch, and his footwork is like phenomenal. Mm-hmm. So,
but
you can see it. Like, same with Paul. The little scene where he just throws a punch like that. Like, that is someone who knows
Yep.
the movement.
You see the skill behind it, even though it's a small little punch.
Yeah.
But when he goes after his sister, when he has his drunken outburst with the bat and whatnot, and then insults Adrian extremely by calling her out.
Yeah.
And that's when Rocky basically steps in. It's like, oh shit. Yeah. Paulie understood, even in his drunken haze, he overstepped.
Yeah.
Because he starts whining right then and there. He's like, oh my God, what did I just do, buddy? And then he's like, I can't haul meat no more.
Yeah. No. And the point where Adrian was like, Doug, do you want a roommate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So.
And I love that. That's actually a thing that Stallone says a lot. He's like, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we ought to knock his block off.
Absolutely. So, and speaking of Adrian, let me see if we can get a shot of Talia Shire. A good shot of her.
Oh, yeah.
She's for the most of the movie, she's constantly looking down. Her character is constantly looking down because she's incredibly shy. And so I'm going in 10-second intervals because, well, there.
Right there. Yep.
It's a good shot.
And a lot of people forget she was in the Godfather movies. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched The Godfather, I think it was last year, for the first time, and I'm like, what son of a bitch? That's what's her name from Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
And it's totally night and day characters, folks. Totally night and day characters.
And the reason why she took the role here, even for the meager pay she was given, is because she wanted to basically get out of the shadow of Coppola.
Mm-hmm.
And she took the role for the like would consider meager pay, would be like an equivalent to like $41,000 or something.
Yeah.
But she said, but she took it. She wanted out of the shadow, but she was very much impressed with the story Stallone had written.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, almost in a way, called Stallone a poet, because it was the character he developed and the story he had created. Even though it was his own life was an inspiration for it, it's in a way a true underdog story.
Yeah, and I like her character too, because her character is shy, but she does want that freedom.
Yeah,
she likes to take care of her brother. She doesn't really want to, or she finds meaning in that, but she also, once she finally lets go with Rocky, I mean, and whatnot, you do see a huge change in her character because, well, now that they've stepped out of that awkwardness, she finds, well, yeah, it wasn't really a mistake or anything. She does really like this guy. And she actually starts standing up to her brother, which leads to his further outburst in that scene. Because she's like, don't talk to him like that. And it's like, oh shit, she's gotten more, what's the word? Confident in herself.
Yeah.
And I love that. She's a strong female character.
Yeah, I was trying to find the trivia I read about the ice skating, the skating scene, because that originally.
Speaking of which, I just saw my niece and nephew skating. Freaking 4 let's see here. Yeah, 20. She's going to be 5 years old at the end of this year. So she's 4. And my nephew is going on, or is going to be 7. He's going to be 7 this year. So he's 6 and she's 4. And they ice skate like freaking champions.
The reason why Rocky wasn't on skates is because Stallone was uncomfortable wearing skates. So he chose not to wear skates. But the ice rink scene originally was written to feature 300 extras. But the production couldn't afford that many people. So Stallone quickly came up with the scene that we have here, where it's basically it's closed on Thanksgiving. And, for so much money, you got $10. Or for 10 minutes, basically, in the rink to yourselves.
Yeah.
Which I think worked better.
10 minutes
worked better.
Time. Yeah.
Worked better being
Yeah, he
empty
doesn't care.
because now you had like the real conversation between Rocky and Adrian,
Mm.
which we wouldn't have gotten if there had been like 300 extras there at the rink.
Calling for you. Hey, yo, Paulie! Adrian's with me. And he
Yeah.
just yells out the damn
Yeah,
window.
because she goes back to his apartment. It's like where she really, shall we say, opens up to Rocky. He's like, "You want me to
Yeah.
let your brother know?"
I
And
gotta
he
go.
like shouts out the window, basically.
I mean, I love it
But,
when she doesn't want to go in and she's like, I gotta go. No,
Yeah.
I gotta go. It's like, but I love that too because, well, she does actually relent, and whatnot.
Mhm.
And it's like, I look at that scene. When I rewatched the movie yesterday, I'm watching the scene and I'm like looking at it from 3 different perspectives. It's like he is quite insistent. He doesn't really offer her a way to escape out of this situation, but she also does consent. I mean, there are so many ways to look at it. I look at it as she came out of her own shell and accepted consented. But there are some people I have no doubt who will actually try to look at it as if he forced her onto her. And I'm like, I hope nobody tries pulling that shit.
I hope nobody tries pulling that shit either because one, he didn't. Like he was, as you put it, insistent, but in no way did he force himself on her. And her relenting, like when I use the word relenting, I mean that was actually her coming out of her shell and breaking free.
Yeah.
And she's like,
yeah.
So.
And she was kissing him as well as him kissing her.
So her essentially denial up to that point was she wanted to do it, but she was so shy.
Yes.
And she had to break free of that. Yeah, he's trying to get her out of the shyness.
Yeah. I mean, because if an SJW watches this movie, God help, everybody's going to be like, cancel Rocky. It's like, what the fuck, man? Fuck off.
Yeah. But anyway, trivia I've read is Carrie Snodgrass was originally offered the role of Adrian, but dropped out due to disagreements about money. Most likely they couldn't afford her. Susan Sarandon auditioned for the role, but was deemed too obviously attractive for the character.
You need somebody who has that underlying beauty that really comes out when they come out of the shell.
Yeah, which I think Talia Shire nails.
Fully embodies.
Yeah. So, and originally, like the ends, and before the final script, basically, originally the ending was going to be like Rocky leaves the ring and he finds Adrian in the back where she was waiting for him. And that's when they walk off. So basically the iconic poster of them like holding hands and walking away was going to be the original ending, but it was deemed unsatisfying. So it was changed to her entering the arena and running to the ring when he's calling to her. And like coming into the ring when he's calling to her.
Where's your hat?
Yeah.
I love that. Where's your hat?
Yeah. So.
And that's when she finally says it. I love you. And it's like,
yeah,
I love you too.
Yeah. Yep. Paulie's there. Gazzo's there, which I like. The Gazzo is a 2-bit loan shark. He's a hoodlum, but he's like he told Rocky he'd be there ringside, and he was there ringside.
Yeah, he's of stature, and I mean Gazzo doesn't fully disappear until the second movie. Mm-hmm. He's in the second movie, but then he kind of disappears after Rocky fully breaks out of the uneducated version of himself.
Yeah. So I think so now we've talked about basically the main characters. There are a lot of like other secondary characters, but let's talk about this hold on, let me see. This here, maybe like a bit of trivia, because there was let me find the trivia about the Steadicam. If I could spell. Steadicam was the iconic shot of Rocky running up the steps of the Philadelphia Art Museum came about because of Garrett Brown. The Philadelphia native had recently invented the Steadicam and was preparing to fly to Los Angeles and try to sell it. He had shot some test footage following people around corridors, but he wanted to shoot something that even the most experienced filmmakers would look at and wonder how he did it. He had his girlfriend run up and down the museum steps while he followed close behind. Using that footage, Brown sold the camera on his first day in Los Angeles. Several months later, John G. Avildsen saw the footage and felt a similar type of shot would be perfect for this film, so he hired Brown and the Steadicam, and several months after running up the steps filming his girlfriend, he was running back up the steps filming Sylvester Stallone.
Nice.
So yeah, a little bit of trivia about that iconic shot of like basically following Rocky up the steps, and then doing we see like Rocky cheering because I love how like you had the montage of him training, but then you had him beginning his training by himself earlier in the movie, and he barely made it up the steps. He's like he struggled. He got up like maybe the first couple flights easily, but then like the third and fourth one, he was like practically walking up those steps. And then you get to this point where now he's not just jogging, he's running, he's doing one-handed push-ups, he's doing all that like in the ring. He's being trained by Mickey, and he's able to run up all those steps in one go.
Mm-hmm.
So, to the Rocky theme, basically the definitive Rocky theme, which whenever I hear the Rocky theme, this is going to sound weird to people, but I'm a weird person. I used to watch a show called Step by Step. It was part of the TGIF lineup with Boy Meets World and things like that. All right. And there's an episode, I remember this clearly. There's an episode where one of the sons, it was the nerdy son, like the blonde son, basically. He was taking karate or something, and he just couldn't get it right. He just couldn't he's ready to give up on because Cody was trying to train him, like get him ready for his competition, basically. And the kid is going he's giving up. He's like, I can't get it. I'm not gonna get it's not gonna work. And he's like walking off. And I remember Cody looking at one of the other siblings, and he's like, I hate to do this, but I gotta. And he presses play on this boombox, and it's the Rocky theme.
Yeah. Yep. Oh,
and like the kid stops, and it's like theme from Rocky gets him every time. Basically, it's like it gets you pumped, basically gets you pumped every time.
Funny thing, people go to those damn steps all the time and do the pose. Mm-hmm. And when they were filming Rocky Balboa, he caught one guy doing it, and they filmed it. And he's like, "Oh my God, is that you? Yeah, what's up?" And he's like, "Oh my God, I was just pretending to be you." But yeah, on the steps now, they actually have his boots, from his fights, ingrained into the cement. Kind of like a Hall of Fame or Hollywood.
Big Roger was groundbreaking for the time, basically, because that's what they used following Rocky up those steps.
Yep.
So it was like, and I like basically, kind of ironic that the footage Garrett Brown used to sell the Steadicam of his girlfriend running up the steps, he went back to film Sylvester Stallone running up those steps.
Mm-hmm.
And Jim Frazier was the only boxer because they put out calls to the boxers for the final the ends end part, and Frazier was the only one to show up. But ultimately, I think it worked best that he was the only one to show up because he was actually a Philadelphia native.
Yep.
Set in Philadelphia, so he's the only one that showed up, and when Rocky says offhand to Mickey, I bet they're friends or something like that. It's an allusion to how Frazier and Ali were prior to their first bouts, because they were friends. According to the trivia, Frazier and Ali were friends, but because of the constant trash talking from Ali, caused a falling out between the two. Mm. So, and I understand there's trash talking and sports and things like that, but I think it gets to a point where it's if you're overdoing it, I can understand why someone would distance himself from someone, and that's what happened between Frazier and Ali. But Frazier showed up, and the banter between him and Creed essentially is kind of an allusion to Frazier and Ali. But anyway, we're getting about an hour in. Let's talk about this final bout.
They're around.
So I love it, like, even before the final fight starts, Rocky has gone to the arena to look, basically look around because he's nervous, and he sees the banner with him on it. And he's like, "That's wrong.
Yeah. Banner's wrong.
The banner's wrong. And my shorts are white with a red stripe." And the promoters like, "What does it matter? People were there
Doesn't matter, Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're just gonna give him a hell of a show."
Yeah. Which ended up being a hell of a show because, to Carl Weathers' credit, basically selling the scene, Apollo was shocked when Rocky got that punch on him, because he went down and we didn't talk about how Rocky knows just about everyone within the local vicinity, basically, and there's locations he'd go to include this bar and all the patrons of the bar, to include this drunk that Rocky brought in and sat down next to another drunk in the bar, which I found hilarious. He's like, "Here, I found you a friend." I sat this drunk next to another drunk at the bar at the one of the booths. They're all watching this bout and they all start cheering. Yeah, it helps. It's like Rocky's he's getting pummeled. Like, he's not exactly winning, but he's going the distance. So what did you think about this final fight? Because a lot of it's a lot of work went into, obviously the practice, basically, for Stallone and Carl and Weathers, but also to try to make it not seem too choreographed.
I thought they did a good job by doing that. That fight doesn't look like it's choreographed at all. It looks like it's an actual fight, which is perfect, what they needed to go for. And when when you see the hits, it's like, damn, it almost looks like they actually hit each other, Because sometimes in movies with fights, you actually do got to come in with those tight shots where you do have to actually make a small connection. And or when they see how a person does actually take a shot or take a hit, sometimes it's not always prosthetic makeup, folks. Sometimes it's actually swelling.
Yeah. So, and like I said, earlier in the stream, a chunk of it was also pointers from Burt Young, who gave Stallone some tips. Says, I don't want to say amateur, but I think he used to be, bantamweight? He doesn't look it, basically, but he used to be it's like bantamweight fighter. So he knew, the basically ins and outs of what a boxing match would look like, and gave Stallone a few pointers for the final match, and this is the result we got. And I love that, again, Creed, he's expecting, he's not expecting any actual fight from Rocky. He's thinking that it's going to be almost a cakewalk. This guy will go down in the third and fourth round. He doesn't consider him any type of threat or competition. And then Rocky just lands this punch on him to his ribs. Boom. And he's knocked down. Not for the count, but he's knocked down. And takes him a while to get up because he was actually shocked. And even Creed's manager was shocked. This guy's actually fighting if it's an actual damn fight, not a show. And basically, this is the last, I'd say, 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, 20 minutes. The fight is 20 minutes, but it goes up to the last minute, pretty much.
Including the build up to the fight, is about 20 minutes. But the actual fight itself, it's right here. When it starts, it's about an hour and 45 minutes in. And the movie itself is an hour and 55 minutes before the credits start to roll, roughly. So about a little over 10 minutes. A little over 10 minutes. And that's I love when they're they're almost holding each other, trying to stand up, basically. like holding on to the other one to try and stand up, and they're saying like there ain't going to be a rematch.
Yeah.
And like you said, like basically Creed wins by technicality at this point because one, both are still standing, so you can't say knockout or even a technical knockout or anything like that. And so it had to boil down to the judges. So really, when you get to the second movie, and we do see the rematch of sorts, it's because Creed, it's like, I didn't really beat you. I won that match, but I didn't really beat you. Yeah, it was more of a draw, but at the same time, they had to declare a winner. They couldn't declare a draw. So the judges obviously went the way of the champion, basically. So, but
Split decision.
It came down to a split decision. So, and because Creed looks at it it was an actual draw, not a clear win. We're gonna see the rematch in the second movie. But yeah, and that is, again, I wish I could play the entire match for you all, but if it's longer than 9 seconds, I get hit. Because YouTube.
I finally found out how long it is specific.
Yeah, 9-10 seconds. Someone told me that basically, if it's longer than that, it just automatically triggers something.
Jeez.
Yeah. So let me see if I can get I wish if I knew where exactly the shot was, where he gets a shot on.
I believe it's in the first round.
It's in the first round. So trying when
you're actually.
I think I'm close. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Go
I got
forward.
I got pause and stop until I can get. Because he lands the shot, and the bar just goes crazy. Basically, I love this also. The beginning of the fight where Creed is just taunting him. Because, again, doesn't consider him any type of a challenge whatsoever. And then, boom.
Yeah, you're getting up on it close.
Dancing around. Not paying attention. Boom. Boom. I don't believe this. Champ is down. I got to pause and stop this if it's longer than 9 seconds. And people are just I love the people in the bar. You see the guy there with the red beanie? That guy that we didn't talk about was drunk outside the bar that Rocky brought in. Basically, fireman carried him into the bar and sat him down next to see that guy in the fedora. Sat him next down to the guy in the fedora in the booth. He's like, "Here, I found you a friend." And they're sitting next to each other like friends at this bar. Now cheering. I like when I was watching the scene, I love how they're all watching him at the bar and they all just go nuts when Rocky lands that first punch. And I think Weathers sells it beautifully, going down. It was it looked like he actually got hit. When I first watched the movie, did he actually get did Stallone actually strike him? It's no. Didn't he just sold it well? Yeah. So basically, it gets to the point where Creed is I won, but I didn't beat him. So yeah, it's
yeah.
So. And
I like this fight because it's this dude just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It's just drop this bump so we go right. And while the fight just continues, it's he won't go down. I just keep thinking it's fucking won't go down.
Because it becomes kind of a montage essentially because it's second round, third round, 7th round, 10th round.
Yeah. So
and there's 15 rounds total. It literally goes when I say goes the distance, I mean to the bell, the final bell of the 15th round. It doesn't go any past that. There's no tiebreaker or anything. Because at that point, they're dead on their feet.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you win by a knockout before the 15th round, it that is a draw, and it comes down to a technicality.
Yep.
But anyway, that is Rocky, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I wish I could play the entire fight because it is one of the best ones. It again, even though Rocky doesn't win, the whole point is he proved that he could go the distance with the champion. And now people know Rocky Balboa's name. But anyway, so like I forgot to ask this at the beginning, but I'll save it essentially for the second one. We'll talk about which one we prefer when we talk about Rocky 2. Rocky or Rocky 2. So I guess like think about that when we talk about Rocky 2, like which one do you prefer? I have to rewatch Rocky 2. Like I remember it, but not well enough. Like for me, I tend to prefer the first ones in the series because that's without the first one we wouldn't have the rest of them, and I prefer like more the simpler stories of the first movies when and so forth. But anyway, thank you all. Next week is Rocky 2. Tomorrow, and I'll let Orange Chat discuss this, I will be talking Alita, Battle Angel, with him on his account. So before I give my outro, Orange Chat, let everybody know where they can find you and all that fun stuff.
You can find me here here twice a month on Mars channel for the ones and twos. You can find me on my channel, Orange Hat, where I discuss all sorts of movies and other controversial stuff going on in Hollywood. I started getting videos out again, so check out my content. Been a little slow because this week doing a little family stuff, but for the most part, I'm gonna try to get at least 3 to 4 videos out in a week if I can. They gotta have interest, But other than that, tomorrow night is Alita Battle Angel. We'll be discussing it at 8 p.m. on X at OrangeHat2185. Unfortunately, they don't allow you to tune in beforehand like they do on YouTube, so you just got to tune in after 8 or at like 8:01. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Friday night, I'll be live on X and on YouTube talking the uncensored stream with my friend Janet from Another Planet and Ruben Christopher Haynes. And maybe Bruce might swing by as well. My birthday, February 1st, I will be doing an 8 p.m. to midnight stream for a birthday stream. So stay tuned for that. It'll be on YouTube and X, and it'll be an open invite with a switching out panel or rotating panel. Mm-hmm. And Sunday is weekly recap. Tuesday is theme streams, and yeah. And then Tuesday nights are the bar room with society reviews.
Right. Okay. And obviously you can find me here on my main YouTube channel. Again, next week will be Rocky 2. So tune in for that. Thursday, again, the singles. I'll be on Orange Hat's account tomorrow talking Alita Battle Angel. And then, since she has not gotten back to me, I have to message Minority Home tomorrow to see if she's available Friday. So to entertain you all with the Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes game, which is basically Bomb Squad the game. And Minority Home wants to be on the PDF, the manual, telling me, essentially, how to disarm the bomb. This is going to be fucking interesting if we're able to pull this off on Friday. And I figure I'll go for about a couple hours or so Friday evening. And then, depending on when I'm able to start, do a reading stream. I think I'm only going to cover one chapter this Friday because I think chapter 8 is a little bit on the long side, and that's where you all will be encountering the Barrow Whites after Tom Bombadil's cabin. So thank you. Essentially, in a way, yeah. Yes, I'll be trying to defuse a bomb. I love Minority Home. She's my bestie. All right, she's my girl. But I'm going to be defusing a bomb with someone who calls the dashes in Morse code long dots.
Oh my god.
So yeah, I'm going to be trying to defuse a bomb for someone who calls the dashes in Morse code long dots. Long dot, 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 dot. Not dash, dot, 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 or dash, dot, dot, dash, nothing like that, no. So I will be, yes, I'll be That'll be one of the myriad of tasks I'll have to do.
Kids.
Anyway, thank you everyone for hanging out with us. Yes, and on my Discord there'll be a watch party Saturday evening of the Saturday night main event for wrestling. So no streams because I don't think I'll be able to do an afternoon one because I'll be watching the replay of SmackDown. And then the watch party will begin a little bit before 8 p.m. So a little bit before the event actually starts on Peacock. So take care, everyone. Have a good rest of your day or evening wherever you are in the world. And we will see you all tomorrow to talk about Alita, Battle Angel. Good night.
Stay humble.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.